So, welcome to Journey Journal. Today is June the 5th, I believe. It's a Sunday, and I'm recording my weekly Journey Journal. So, for those of you all who are joining for the very first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is my opportunity to give you an insight into my journey and how I got here. This whole podcast is all about helping people and helping people to make a transformation that's lasting. You know what I'm saying? Listen, there are people who are out there who are diabetic who simply need help in getting their life together. And you know what? I truly believe that this does not have to be complicated. Weight loss and reversing type 2 diabetes does not have to be complicated. We make it way too complicated. And I don't know why, but when you look at the food industry and even the health and fitness space, you can see a lot of stuff that's out there and people get confused. And I don't like confusion. I like stuff to be simple, straightforward. So that's what this whole podcast is about. So in this week's episode, we're going to talk about some really, really good stuff. So we're going to talk about the benefits of weight loss in order to reverse type 2 diabetes. You get to listen firsthand to my last doctor's visit and hear from him about my progress. I mean, you definitely want to stick around for that. And, it's something about hearing progress, especially those of you who are on your journey. It's good to have good news, but you know what it is? Sometimes even when you get bad news, you got to be prepared for it. So it's nothing to worry about. We're also going to talk about a series that I actually started last time. If you've been tuning in, it's called the Summer Bites series. That's right, Summer Bites. It's a whole series. So the whole month of June through July and possibly into August, we're going to be talking about, habits and how to build healthy habits during the summer. You definitely want to stick around for that. And also, I'm going to be sharing with you all later on in the episode. So you got to stick to the end. I have a strawberry banana split recipe that is fresh. It's homemade. It's healthy, especially if you have a sweet tooth. I got a good option for you. So stick around. So here we are this week, folks. This is my doctor visit, and I wanted to share with you kind of some insight into what my doctor was saying. So let's go ahead and listen in. All right, everybody, I'm here with my doctor.
Take your mask off. You're vaccinated, aren't you?
Yes, I am
vaccinated. You can take your mask off.
Okay, great. All right, folks, I'm here with my doctor, just getting a checkup. It's very important to get your health checkup. So I wanted to do something different today. I wanted to give you a chance to hear from my doc. Say what's up, doc.
Actually, it's what's down.
Right.
And what's down is your weight.
Mm-hmm.
And that's had a dramatic impact on your diabetes. You are no longer taking insulin. You're on metformin twice a day, which is a drug that increases insulin receptors in the liver and decreases the amount of insulin it takes your body to control your blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
By doing this, you're protecting your pancreas and the islet cells that produce insulin, and you're tending to decrease your chances of ever having to be on insulin again. And the metformin also helps you maintain your weight. But concentrating on diet, exercise, and weight loss has increased the number of insulin receptors you have in your liver, your muscles, and your fat cells, which has decreased the amount of insulin your body has to make. When you do this, your appetite tends to go down, making it easier to lose weight, which makes it easier to exercise, which then increases your insulin receptors. So instead of being on a spiral that's taking you into the ground, you're now in a spiral that is lifting you into the clouds. So this is the proper treatment of diabetes. It involves a three-legged stool: diet, exercise, and medications, and the judicious application of all three. And you have done a superb job at the first two, so the amount of medication you need is really quite minimal. So the onset of diabetes is not the end of the world. It's simply the first day of the rest of your life. And the question is, what are you going to do with it?
See, I've been telling y'all that. And so my doctor told me, he said, hey, he walked in, I told him what I was doing. He was like, wow. And he was like, hey, you get an A plus. And I remember, I think about a year ago, my doctor was like, hey, you need to go ahead and change your life. Turn your life around. I'm going to give you some advice. And I did it. So for those of you all who are struggling, you feel like it's the end of the world, you heard from a physician, this guy's trained, we're like best friends now. He just doesn't know it yet. But in case, follow your doctor's order. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Stay focused, keep moving, never go back. Trust God.
One other point. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. What are you going to do with it?
Ooh, boom. Okay, now we're on the other side. As you can see, my doctor said it. It was about the weight loss. It's about the exercise. And of course, as physicians, they're not necessarily trained on nutrition and whole foods and how to make dietary changes. So of course, they like to share with you their opinion on medication. So I stay clear of making recommendations in terms of medications because everybody's body is different. So I know my doctor was really big on not only the nutrition, the getting the exercise and telling me to lose weight, but of course he wanted me to understand the importance or continue to understand the importance of medication. But there's some stuff that I did so that number one, I can get off insulin and even not have to use the other medications. So, I'm not going to get all into that. But listen, here's a little backstory. Back in February 2022 of this year, basically, I went in to get some blood work done, right? So this is before my actual doctor visit. I had met with the nurse practitioner beforehand just to kind of do some vital work and do some blood work and whatnot. So that was February of this year, 2022. At that time, I was 211 pounds in February. So at the time, my A1C blood work came back and it showed that I was at 5.5%, folks. Now that's big. That means my A1C is normal, was normal at that time. Now, let's go back even further. When I was first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, listen, my A1C was actually at 12%. That's high. That's high. So I don't know where your A1C is. It's definitely important for you to go and check out and get your blood work done to know where you stand so you can know where you need to go. So again, back in February, my A1C had gone down to 5.5%. Now that's awesome. So now fast forward to April of 2022. I'm there with my doctor, my primary care physician, so we can discuss my progress. So by that time, I had gone down to 198 pounds, 198 pounds, folks. Now, remember, in February, I was 211. So here it is. By April, I'm now down to 198 pounds. So I lost 13 pounds, folks. And I mean, I was feeling great. I was excited. I was going in knowing that, hey, I know the doc is going to give me a good report. So I was ready, man. I was totally ready to go ahead and get a good report. You know what I mean? So I can celebrate. So going in, my body fat actually was down to 11.1%. Folks. No, let me correct that. So my weight right now, I'm jumping all over the place. My body weight right now is 187 pounds with a body fat percentage of 11.1. And I think back in April, my body fat count was right around just at 15.3%. So I discuss weight loss versus fat loss in a different episode. I won't get into it here. So it's not just about losing weight. It's about looking at your body composition and getting down to the size that you want, but the physical size that you want to have. So I knew a body composition. I wanted to look more athletic. So as of today, folks, my body is down to 11.1% body fat. Now that's big. Now, I still do weight training. I lift weights because I want to build muscle. I don't want to bulk up, but I do want to maintain muscle because that's very important as well. So I think I'll probably do another episode where I specifically talk about exercise and weight management and how all this all comes together. So I don't know where you guys are, in your journey. It's one thing for me to be here, to sit here and tell you about my journey and what happened with my doctor. But I want you to know that this is not made up. This is real life. I don't come from a standpoint of a dietitian or even a nutritionist, not even a doctor. I'm not a physician. I'm a guy who was 268 pounds and diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And I decided that I did not want to die. I didn't want to lose limbs. I wanted to live a healthy life. So I turned my life around, from my eating to exercise to you name it. I was willing to put in the work to get the job done. Now, listen, I know weight loss for you may be a struggle. It may be something that you've been dealing with for a while and you've tried all kinds of diets and exercise fads, and you probably went out and got a whole bunch of exercise gear and you're like, hey, I'm struggling and it's been a challenge. There may be some other underlying health conditions and health situations that you're dealing with. So I don't want to make light of that, but I do want to encourage you that, when you take the necessary steps to know where you are in your health, you can turn your life around. It's not going to happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for me. I was scared, man. Being told that you have type 2 diabetes and then knowing that, man, I have people who I know who've died, who've lost limbs, and I didn't want that to be my story. So I had to turn some things around, man. I really had to turn some things around. I was dealing with depression. You may be dealing with depression too. Listen, I was going through some personal challenges, some real relationship issues at the time, and things were tough, and so I get it. Not only that, I had a lack of energy, I was sluggish a lot, and I had cravings. I had a hard time sleeping. And, it just got to a point where it's like, man, I need to turn this stuff around. So I made a commitment to myself. I didn't do it for anybody else. I didn't change my situation around for anybody else but for me. Yes, I wanted to be around for my kids, but, I needed to be around for myself. There was so much unfinished work to do. And I'm glad I was able to transform my life and turn things around. And that's what gave rise to me and the encouragement for me to start a TikTok channel. I started a TikTok channel in April. Yeah, April, because, I wanted to encourage other people. Now, when a friend of mine first told me to get on TikTok and share my story, I was like, man, who wants to hear me, tell my story about type 2 diabetes and reversing type 2 diabetes? Come on. TikTok is for a bunch of kids who are doing dances and trending and doing dances on top of cars and at malls and going down escalators and whatnot. And they were like, no, you should really check it out. So I recorded a video and, man, that video took off. And ever since then, I've just been growing this TikTok channel, and the followers, man, I love my TikTok followers. Man, they engage so much. They leave comments. They share encouraging information, and that encourages me too, man. So they give me ideas for show topics and things for the podcast. And so if you're a follower of my podcast and you originally started in TikTok and Instagram too, but mainly TikTok, shout out to you guys, man. I love y'all so much. You like and you share my videos, man. I really appreciate that. So here's a comment that actually came in from an Ann. She's actually a new follower on TikTok. And she was responding to a post that I put about, how do we start our sugar addictions and how far back does it go? And I shared like how it started for me, So this is what Ann wrote in. She said, I had depression being a single mom, and I ate a lot of chocolate in my 30s. And I drank like 4 bottles of Coca-Cola per day. I was told I was diabetic 4 years ago, which was very hard to accept. For 3 years, I lived in denial, but I'm fighting now. Shout out to Ann. Oh my gosh. Man, your story, Ann, is what a lot of people deal with. And I just want to encourage Ann and other people like Ann who are dealing with depression, who've dealt with depression and getting that news that you have type 2 diabetes. Sometimes it can be scary. It happened to me. For those of you all who are tuned in, I mean, you're probably dealing with that right now. I don't know your specific situation. You may be like Ann, a single mom raising kids while you're working at home, or maybe you work a 9 to 5 and you have to go in the office and then try to, do all this stuff and getting lunches ready, do homework and take care of your household or, and it's a lot. And then you're trying to now deal with type 2 diabetes. You hear that you have to eat right and exercise. And it's like, when can I find time to exercise? And you're like, man, I've tried it. I've been just going up and down, and you just feel like quitting. You're probably at that point where it's like, man, you know what? Here we go again. I don't know. My heart goes out to you, maybe you are a husband, you're a guy and you're working late all the time. Maybe you're traveling all the time. You're a workaholic and trying to maintain your household, provide for your family, your spouse, your kids, and everybody's pulling on you. Plus, maybe you're like, I need to get my life together. And I used to be athletic back in high school. I played sports and you feel bad about yourself, because you've gained a lot of weight over the years and you've put on pounds after pounds and you're just like, man, how did I let myself go? Listen, you're not alone, brother. I mean, trust me, I go to the gym and I speak to people and get to meet people who are just like you, who are just struggling to lose weight and they're just trying to figure it out, man. And they're doing whatever they can to turn things around. And so that's why I created this podcast, man, it's really to help diabetics make lifestyle changes to reverse type 2 diabetes, plain and simple. So if you're like Ann or you're like, the gentlemen who are out there not taking care of yourself, you're providing for everybody else, I want you to listen and listen closely. Yes, I want you to go get your blood work done, get your office visits with your doctors in, get them scheduled. Stop being afraid to hear what's going on. But you got to love yourself. You love everybody else. You take care of everybody else. But it's time for you, like Ann, it's time for you to take care of yourself. Know where you are so you can know where you need to go. Like my doctor said, I want to encourage you as well. Type 2 diabetes is not the end, my friend. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. What are you going to do with it? Let's go ahead and take a break. Folks, if you want to connect with me, you can always email me at hello@beatingdiabetieslifestyle.com. Also on Instagram at beatingdiabetieslifestyle. Listen, if you want to send me a video with a question or a comment, you can also use the HiHo app. That's HIHO. This is a great new way to literally connect with me and share a question by recording a video. I think that's a great way for us to connect as well. Now, let's get back to this week's episode. All right, we're back, folks. So for the Summer Bites series, all summer long, I'm going to be sharing ways for you to develop healthy lifestyle habits while on vacation. Listen, the summer is not the time for you to let your hair down and just wild out and eat whatever you want and just enjoy yourself because, hey, you've been, quote unquote, doing so good. So it's a summer vacation and we're just going to drink whatever we want to drink, eat whatever we want to eat and whatnot. Listen, you've put in some hard work. Summer is not the time to let your hair down. You can choose some better options. Listen, during the summer, bad habits get multiplied. Trust me, I know, from the fast foods, the processed foods, the sugary drinks and all kind of stuff, man. I get it. I get it. You know, you're on vacation and you sleep in or you may sleep less because you're just out and about from morning, noon, and night, just having fun. And I get it. Listen, my goal is not to ruin your summer vacation, but just to encourage you to keep your health on the top of your mind. Because what good is it to enjoy this summer, but going into the fall, you're sick? What good is it to have all this fun now and a year later, you're paying the price for continuing bad habits? So I just really want to encourage you all. Listen, one thing I want you to think about is when it comes to making a lifestyle change and creating bad habits, is listen, you've created bad habits for a while. They didn't start overnight, but it's time to create good habits. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's the slow, small things that we do on a continual basis that helps us to eliminate the bad habits and formulate good habits, right? So now, while you're on vacation, and this doesn't have to just be on vacation, but I want you to think about this. I want you to start choosing more whole fruits. That seems so simple. What I mean by a whole fruit is an actual fruit. Like instead of orange juice, or dried oranges or dried fruit, or something that has an extract from a fruit in it, actually eat the whole fruit. Eat an actual orange, eat an actual apple, an actual banana. So you may be out at breakfast while you're on vacation, and it's time for you to get some pancakes, some French toast. Oh, I love French toast. With cinnamon. I don't do the powdered sugar anymore. Anyway, and you may be tempted to get the syrup, the fruit glazed syrup, like strawberry syrup. No, just ask them for actual strawberries. Right? Ask them instead of caramel or whatever you guys put on your waffles and your pancakes, ask for actual whole fruit. Now, listen, I know you love your syrups. I'm not going to get on the syrup bandwagon, but there are healthier options. So you get what I'm saying. So I want you to, tip number one or top tip is choose whole fruits. Listen, when it comes to curbing your cravings or stopping your cravings, I had to trick my mind, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what I mean by tricking the mind and tricking your taste buds and so forth. But fruits contain a small amount of sugar in them, right? So you if you have a sugar fix, right, a sugar craving, it's good to replace it with a whole fruit that's going to give you nutrition, is going to give you vitamins. See, the problem occurs when fruits are processed, right? And they're processed to make table sugar. The whole cane sugar stuff and whatnot. So, and then those processed fruits, they get rid of the fiber, and they take all the sweetness from the fruit to make syrups, your maple syrups and your other kind of syrups. They make fruit juices, jellies, and they even add it to all kinds of other products. Do you know when you get like certain hot dogs and kielbasa and some other type of even hamburgers during the summer, they add sugar to it. Like for what? See, it's all about taste. So the goal is to reduce the amount of artificial or added sugar that we put in our bodies, right? So listen, when there is a lot of processed sugar that we consume, there have been studies that show that those processed sugars from fruit and whatnot, they lead to memory loss, weight gain, hypertension, high blood pressure, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, which is insulin resistance, and a whole bunch of other health related issues, which is why sometimes you see when you have type 2 diabetes, your doctor also says, hey, you need to be on blood pressure medication. You need to lower your A1C by doing XYZ. So, that was a rhyme. Unintentional. I'm not a rapper. So when fruits are processed, the natural fiber that they contain are stripped away. Now, listen, folks, we need fiber as a part of our diet. Fiber helps us with our digestive system. When we need to process the food and have bowel movements on a regular basis, fiber is very important. As a matter of fact, fiber helps to lower blood glucose, helps us to prevent sugar spikes. So that's why they tell you it's good to have fiber with something sweet. We can go into that a little bit more at a later time. But when I stopped, having sugar cravings, that didn't happen overnight. There was a process that I had to go through. And it wasn't that I read it in a book. This was just common sense. I was like, okay, if I'm having a sugar addiction and I'm eating, sweets late at night, where did this come from? How did this develop? Right. So here are a couple of things that I did. Because listen, I used to eat something sweet before going to bed every night. I would have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with some orange juice or some grape juice every night. If it wasn't that, I would get a Pop-Tart, because my kids like Pop-Tarts. So I would go and get some Pop-Tarts, or I would get a bag of chips, but it was always something sweet that I had to have. It was like clockwork. And guess what? I would eat that late at night, because here's the other thing. I would go to bed late at night, like 2 a.m. every night working, or sometimes on social media or watching a movie and whatnot, and then still eat something that late at night. So guess what? In the middle of the night, I would wake up with more cravings for sugar. And guess what I did? I will make another peanut butter and jelly sandwich, get some more orange juice or grape juice, or pop a Pop-Tart or whatever was in the house that was sweet. I just figured that I need to have it. And I know some of y'all are dealing with that too. So y'all need to stop it just like I stopped it. But how do you stop it? So this is what I had to do, right? I started substituting bad sweets with good sweets. Now, what do you mean by good sweets? Okay, remember earlier I was telling you about fruit? Fruit has natural sugars in it. So what I did was I did it as an experiment. I would get some green apples, right? Or I would buy green apples. And at night, Instead of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I would just eat an actual apple. Not only that, instead of drinking fruit juice, even if it says 100% fruit juice, I got rid of it. I didn't do the diet. I didn't even do the sugar-free one, quote unquote sugar-free. I was like, no, I'm going to eat an apple and I'm going to get water. So I did that for about a week. Even if I had two apples, I was like, okay, I need to take control of these cravings. And after a while, I started noticing that my cravings for late night snacks just went away. And I got into the physical habit of reaching for an apple, a green apple. So that's something that I recommend that you all do. Reach for a whole fruit instead of getting a piece of cake or whatever it is, you're struggling with. It could be chocolate. That was another thing. I would probably eat like some chocolate late at night. I had to stop all of that. First of all, I had to stop buying the stuff, the bad sweets, and not have it in the house. So that was one thing that I did that was real practical. So kind of fast forward to now and how I live my life on a day-to-day basis, folks. I'm in maintenance mode now. I like the weight where I am now. I like to stay between 185 and 190 because I do a lot of I do cardio, I do plyometric exercises, a lot of exercises that help me to burn fat, but I also lift weights because I want to maintain a good body composition. But, it all goes back down to diet and what we put in our bodies. Yeah, I do my multivitamins and my supplements every day without fail, but I needed to reprogram my, not genetics. I had to reprogram my cells and what my body was used to. So I stopped, the other day on TikTok, I talked about how I used to put a plate, get a little small plate and pour a mound of sugar on it. And I will cut up a lime and I will squeeze the lime juice onto that plate. And not only that, I would just take the lime, dip it in, and eat the lime just like that. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. That was a craving that I had. And I think I took that into my adulthood. Every now and then I would do that. So I had to stop that. So basically what I'm saying, I had to reprogram my body to want more fruits and vegetables. I'll talk on another episode about vegetables. But this week, I wanted to really talk with you guys about the importance of getting whole fruit. Now, this past weekend, what I did was go to a local farm. I was running low on strawberries and blueberries and some other berries. Berries are very, very good to have in your diet, by the way. So I said, you know what, let me go ahead and stop at this local farmer and pick up some, out in the field and pick up some blueberries. So I went out and some other berries. So I went out in the field and man, it was a great time. I posted a video on TikTok, so definitely check that out. So, I picked some fresh blueberries and blackberries, and it was so awesome just to, number one, be out there in nature. I like nature. I just like being out there. But the whole act of knowing that, hey, I'm going to pick these berries because I'm going to use them in my fruit smoothies. I'm going to use them in salads. And also, I promised y'all that I was going to give you my recipe for a strawberry banana split. So I used some of those fresh berries in that recipe. So stick around. I promise you, just hang tight. I got you. Don't worry about it. Okay. So during my weight loss journey, I used to have what's called cheat days. So my cheat days were either Friday or a Saturday. And, you know what it is where we call ourselves having a cheat day. That's when you have whatever you want. And because you've been so quote unquote good and making good choices. And I did that for a while, but then it hit me like, why do my cheat days have to be full of stuff that I know is not good for my body? So I had to change that. I had to change my concept and my perception, my thoughts on cheat days. So what I did was start making better choices when it came to my cheat days. So, like we all do, we have choices. You can have a day where you kind of let your hair down, but listen, we don't want to let our hair down to the point where it's like, you know what, man, I'm just going to eat whatever. It doesn't matter because our body wants us to still feed it good stuff or needs it to feed us good stuff. So if you love your body, if you love your life, let's make better choices. So, as promised, here is my strawberry banana split ice cream recipe. I can't believe it, man. I used to go to this ice cream place not too far from where I live, and they knew what I wanted as soon as I walked in. When I would walk in, there's like, hey, yeah, we're out of bananas, or we're out of the toppings or whatever it was. Every week it was like something that they were missing. And I was like, dude, this is crazy. No matter what time of day, they just ran out of this. So I think, God was trying to give me a heads up that I needed to start making my own banana splits. So here we go, real quick. Here are the ingredients. And this is all organic. I want you to make or choose organic options. I know organic fruits and vegetables are, to a lot of people, very expensive, but I heard someone say years ago, it's better for you to pay for it now than pay for it later in medical bills and medicines and stuff like that. So I get it. That's easier said than done, I know, in some cases. But here are the ingredients. So take one whole ripe organic banana, half a cup of organic blueberries. Get your blueberries from the local farm. Strawberries too, bananas if you can. A half a cup of strawberries, a half or a fourth cup of blackberries. Get some crushed nuts, probably like a half cup, or a pinch, as they say. You want to crush them up. So I'm talking about mixed nuts, unsalted. I use the unsalted kind. Cashews, pecans, pistachios, and almonds. As a matter of fact, Costco has this container full of, it's a Kirkland signature brand. There's about $14. I think it's worth it though. So I get those and I use those in my salads as well as snacks because you can crush them up or just eat them like that. And those are healthy fats. So that's another thing that's very important. So I know some of you all may have some nut allergies. So this is totally optional. You don't have to use the mixed nuts. And also you want a 1 teaspoon of chia seeds. You could probably do 2 teaspoons. It's up to you. Chia seeds are good for fiber-rich sorts of protein as well. And last, 2/3 cup of Rebel strawberry keto ice cream. So I discovered this ice cream about a couple months ago, and I must say it's delicious. And, they do claim that it has no impact on your blood sugar. And I've tested my blood sugar afterwards, and all I can say is you may want to try it. Okay. I know some people may have some dairy issues, some issues with lactose intolerance and stuff like that. But I think Rebel has some stuff that you may like. So, okay, now here's the thing. Here's some notes. You could choose whatever berries you want, right? You could maybe do raspberries or just whatever you want. The goal is to make sure that they are organic. Okay, so keep that in mind. Fresh, and stay away from the dried fruits. A lot of those dried fruits are packed with sugar and some other stuff. So just stay away from the dried fruits. Okay. Now, here's the preparation. Go ahead and slice the banana down the middle, put it in a bowl, right? Or whatever container you want to use. And then add your Rebel ice cream in it, add your scoops in it. Don't go overboard. I buy a pint. I never eat the pint in one setting. I probably just do 1 or 2 scoops of it with a tablespoon, put them in there, boom. I don't want to go overboard. I don't recommend that you go overboard. Then go ahead and add your toppings, your berries and your nuts, and then add your chai seeds. And there you have it. You have your homemade strawberry banana split ice cream. Now, you may like chocolate. I think the Rebel has a different kind of flavors and stuff like that, but still check the sugar content with anything you put in your body. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, here are the benefits. Listen, I'm not trying to put any ice cream stores out of business, but listen, there are healthier options that we can choose. It's all about choosing healthier options. You see what I'm saying? When we have healthier options, our body will thank us for it later on. So this recipe is light. The banana split is light, it's fresh, and it's a treat that you can have once a week. Now, if you want to have it at the end of the week after you've done all your, your exercise and whatnot, it'll be great. You can be on vacation. You can make this on vacation. Let's say before you go on vacation, or let's say while you're out on vacation, you may be listening to this while you're on vacation. You can find a Whole Foods store or Sprouts or whatnot and get some organic berries, some banana. You may like peaches and so forth. Now, I know some people may hear, hey, stay away from fruits because, they can raise your blood sugar. Listen, knowledge is the key to success. Fruit is not bad. Certain fruits have what's called, all fruits, carbohydrates, they have a glycemic index. Basically, that's a measurement of how much and how fast they will raise your blood sugar. So you want to, yes, choose fruit that don't have a high glycemic index. You can Google it and there's different charts. Just Google glycemic index charts. In any case, the goal is to, at the end of the day, is still to eat whole fruits, whatever you choose. You decide based on your taste buds what you like. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Now, in terms of your syrups, like I don't put any caramel or chocolate syrups like I used to. I just stopped doing it because I'm like, why am I putting the syrup on it anyway? It's for taste. I'm getting good taste and nutrition from the fruit, so I don't need that. I don't need that other stuff. So as we wrap up today, I wanted to share with you all a couple of things just for you to take away. Understand the value and the role of habits in your life. We hear a lot about bad habits. So I have a bad habit of eating this, a bad habit of eating that. Okay, we get it. Now it's time to turn all of that around and formulate some good habits. Good habits are not formed overnight. They're formed by taking small habits and compounding those small habits. Even a 1% change in your habits will have a compounding effect. So keep that in mind. I want you to make better choices. As I said, you have before you processed foods, whole foods, processed sugar, whole fruit, sports drinks, energy drinks, fruit juices, sodas, iced teas, lemonade, or water that you can add lemon to it or lime. Choose the water. Choose the healthier option, folks. And let's say if you mess up while you're on vacation, it's one thing to mess up, quote unquote, once. Just don't keep repeating the bad habits. The goal is to repeat the good habits. It's to put good habits in place that replace the bad habits. We can do it, folks. Again, the small changes that you make those repeatable. And before you know it, your cravings for sugar will go away. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not. But you got to put in the work, folks. I did it. If I can do it, trust me, I know you can too. You can fight the temptation to quit. This is not time to give up, cave in and quit. This is not time for you to go back. and renege on your promises to yourself, listen, hey, I'm Oscar. I'm your friend. I'm not going to let you give up, cave in, and quit, baby. We're living this lifestyle of beating diabetes. We got this. You got this. Come on now. Come on now. Stop playing. Listen, there's a book that I've been reading. It's called Atomic Habits, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones by James Clear. Listen, I've been preaching about this book and I think it's awesome. So I'll leave some information in the details in the description of the show notes for this episode. Here are my final thoughts, folks. Whatever you do, whatever you plan to do, don't just make it a plan. Actually start executing. Just start. Go ahead and get it done. Stop putting this lifestyle transformation off. Stop waiting till, next week when this happens or that happens. No, start today. Don't set aside your health plan just because it's the summer. Oh, well, when we get back, from vacation, then we'll start. Come on. You and I both know that a lot of times that is not sustainable. We did that already, didn't we? Didn't we do that last year and the year before that? And then before you know it, the fall is around and we got to get ready for Thanksgiving. Then the holidays come around and come on, guys, we got to do something better. So as always, stay focused, keep moving, never go back. Trust God. You got this. I believe in you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Beating Diabetes podcast with Oscar Camejo. We hope you enjoyed this episode. As a reminder, this podcast is intended for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional care by a physician or other healthcare professional or qualified fitness instructor. This podcast is provided on the understanding that it does not constitute medical or professional advice or services. If you're looking for help on your journey, seek a qualified medical practitioner. It's important that you utilize someone who is a trained, licensed healthcare professional who can help you on your journey toward good health.